if I want to share. I'm just going to share it. Am I going to share this? I'm going to share this goal. Hello, welcome back to the chaos that is Shani and books. Today I am going to be talking about goals, reading goals from 2023 and then new goals heading into 2024. So I have my journal here with the goals written in it, and let me quickly go over whether or not I completed them. So goal number 1 was my Goodreads goal, and I set it to reading 23 books in 2023. I'd done this the last couple of years. 2022, my goal was 22, and in 2023 I did meet that goal. I completed it on the 23rd of February. Wow, that's really satisfying. I completed 23 books on the 23rd of February in 2023. I actually ended up reading 120 books in the entire year, which is crazy because that is the most amount of books I've ever read in a single year. So I'm very proud of myself for that. And I think I probably will do a separate video on my stats, but my final number was 120. Goal number 2 I have written in my journal is read 10 non-fiction books. Sadly, I did not complete this goal. I was 3 short. The year before, in 2022, I completed it on the very last day of the year. So I'm not surprised that this was the goal that I struggled the most with. Goal number 3 was to read 10 Australian books. So just books are written by Australian authors. I like to have this as a goal. Obviously, I am Australian, but a lot of the books that get a lot of hype on the internet and in the book community are books written by US authors set in the US or UK even. And so I tend to forget about my fellow Aussies. So I do try and make it a goal to read some books from Australian authors. And I did complete this one. I completed it on the 12th of October. So I read over 10 because I think I probably read a couple of Australian books after that. Goal number 4 was to read 10 2023 releases. This is because in previous years, I didn't really focus on new books coming out that much, and I like to be in the know. I feel like I want to know what everyone's talking about. I want to be keeping up with new release books. And I did complete this one. I finished this on the 25th of August. So I actually read well over 10 2023 releases, which is great. I think what helped me to reach this goal as well is I started reviewing arcs, which I didn't put that as a goal this year. I had it as a goal in 2022, and I didn't make it a 2023 goal because I didn't complete it in the year prior. I was too scared. But 2023, I started reviewing arcs, so that helped me to get my new release books number up. My 5th goal was to finish the year with less unread books on my shelf than I started it. So on January 1st, I had 141 unread books sitting on my physical bookshelf. And if you saw in December, I posted a video of all my unread books, and I think that my final number was 107 or 108. I don't know. Either way, it was well under the 141 that I started with. So I did complete this goal. Goal number 6 was to complete the Buzzword Reading Challenge. This is a goal of mine every single year. It is a reading yearly challenge that is hosted by Kayla from Books and Lala. I'm sure you've seen it, you've heard about it. I talk about it all the time as well. Each month there is a prompt or a group of prompts, and you have to find that word within the title of a book. So I did complete this one. There were a couple of books that I didn't read within the month. I'll put the graphic up so that I don't have to tell you all the books. But for March, I read The Husband's Secret, and I didn't read the entire thing during March. I think it bled into April, but I'm still counting it. And then for November, I counted Really Good Actually, which I actually had read prior to that. I read it a few months before, but I just didn't end up reading the book that I had allocated during that month. So I completed all of the other books within their month. Those were the only 2 that I had read before or after. But yeah, did complete that one. And same as last year, I end up having about half the books that I really enjoy and half the books I did not enjoy. Goal number 7, I ended up changing it. I don't know why I had it like this, but goal number 7 was to read 1 book club or buddy read book per month. But as the months went on, I ended up changing this goal to be just 12 overall instead of being like time focused, because there were some months that I was in a reading slump, and then there were some months where I participated in multiple book clubs or buddy reads. So I did complete this with the 12 overall. On the 16th of November, I finished that goal. But if it was 1 per month, I would have failed because there were definitely some months that I barely read. And then my last goal that I have written in my journal is mostly purchase from small businesses. And I actually didn't tally this up like I did the previous year, but I barely purchased any books at all. So I'm just going to count this as complete because I mean, clearly my unread books did not go up very much. So I was definitely reading more books than I was purchasing. So I'm going to count this goal as complete anyway. Okay, those were my main official goals that I had throughout the year. But in my journal, I did track a couple of other things that I will include. So I did try to do the A to Z or A to Z challenge, where you read a book starting with every single letter of the alphabet. And would you believe I was 1 letter short. I did not read a book that started with the letter I, which is really frustrating because I read from every other letter. I think for Z or Z, I counted a book that ended with that letter. I don't think I read something that started with that letter. Again, I'll put up a graphic so you can see, but it's very frustrating. It's really unsatisfying that I had one to go, but anyway, that's fine. The other thing that I low-key started tracking in my reading in my journal was which countries I read books set in. And I didn't have this as a goal because I wanted to just see naturally in the books that I was already picking up what countries they were set in. And if you saw my journal set up for the new year, I included it again. So I put a world map, and I also have a place to write down all of the countries. I'm pretty bad with geography, so the world map is there so that when I read a book set in that country, I have to find it on the map and color it in. I've been interrupted so many times, I keep losing my train of thought. But yeah, I wanted to color it on a map so that I could remember where that country is actually located in the world, because I'm pretty bad with countries. So yeah, I didn't want to go out of my way to read too much out of what I was already planning, in order to complete this. I just wanted to see what would happen naturally. And then in the new year, I do want to try and up that amount because I didn't really read that many, but I'll go through the books anyway. Obviously there were so many books that were set in the US that I read, so take your pick on whatever I read set in the US. And same with the UK. So many books that I read were set in the UK. So multiple books could count for that. But I'll go through the countries that are less common. So the Stationery Shop of Tehran is set in Iran. So that checks off one country. On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous, I am going to count for Vietnam, even though the whole thing isn't set there because they moved, but there is mention because I did want it to be where the book was set, not just the ethnicity of the author, if that makes sense. So there were snippets in Vietnam, so I'm going to count it. Before the Coffee Gets Cold is set in Japan. This one's translated, so this was an easy one for that country. Really Good Actually was set in Canada. This one, I'm pretty sure the entire book wasn't set there, but the second Pages and Co book is set in France for part of it, at least, I think. Unless it was the whole book, I don't remember. Obviously, reading Australian books is part of my goals. So I read a lot of books set in Australia anyway, but I think the first one that I read set in Australia was The Husband's Secret, which is unfortunate because I didn't love it. I'm actually not sure that the country wasn't mentioned, but I'm going to count it anyway. You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty. I'm counting for Nigeria. I don't think they actually said it was Nigeria, but I'm pretty sure the author is Nigerian and other novels that they have written have been set in Nigeria. And if my memory, it's been like a year since I've read this, but if my memory is correct, when she was traveling, they didn't mention the exact place. So I don't think it is Nigeria. So maybe I shouldn't count it. Maybe it was set somewhere else, but I don't think it said. So I don't know if that counts, but I'm tentatively putting it as Nigeria just to check off another country. I have The Hacienda for Mexico. I have the book Girls Burn Brighter to count for India. And then lastly, I have The Center to count for Pakistan. The entire book isn't set there, but they do travel there for a section of the book. So that's 12 countries if we count the UK and the US, which is not great considering how many countries there are in the world. So obviously in the new year, this is something that I would like to aim to focus on more because like I said, I wasn't focusing on it. I was just tracking it just to see naturally what came up. Those are the only goals that I wanted to talk about from the previous year. Okay, so let's talk about reading goals for 2024. So firstly, my Goodreads reading goal that I have set for the new year is 50 books. I decided to up it from what I had been doing usually and not setting it as 24. Instead, I went to 50. I've read 120 books last year, so assuming I'm gonna have a similar reading year, 50 is realistic because then at least if I get into some slumps, I still have time to be able to achieve it. So yeah, 50 books is my new goal. I kept the next couple of goals pretty much the same. So goal number 2 is to read 10 non-fiction books. Even though I didn't complete it last year, I'm adding it for this year. Goal number 3 is to read 10 Australian books, same again. Number 4 is to read 10 2024 releases, which I think I will be able to accomplish. Goal number 5 is to read 10 book club/buddy reads. So again, I'm not doing it month to month. Overall 10, and I reduced the amount because I'm not going to count my own book club reads because I'm obviously going to read those. So yeah, 10 other than my own. Hopefully I can complete this. Goal number 6, same as always, complete the buzzword reading challenge. There are obviously new words for the new year. I actually struggled with a couple of these. I posted a photo on my Instagram. I did the same last year. When the words are released, I grabbed a book from my TBR shelf that met each word just to see what I had at the beginning of the year, and then I can match it up with the end of the year what I actually finished, and I actually struggled for a couple of words. So we'll see how we go. I think I'm going to utilize my library for a few of those. Goal number 7, same as before, mostly purchase from small businesses if I can. I'm not really purchasing books, so that one I probably didn't need to include. But goal number 8, a new goal. Like I said, I started reviewing ARCs last year. So this year I want to get my NetGalley rating at 80% and try and have it around 80% for the entire year. I'm sure most of you are maybe familiar with NetGalley. And I think when I first started reviewing books, my percentage was hovering around 80 because I didn't really have that many books. So every time I received one, I was reviewing it and like keeping it around that level. But towards the end of the year, I did get approved for a few books and I haven't read them yet. So I need to hurry up and read some. I would like to have it hovering around that 80% mark for the entire year if I can. If you are a NetGalley user, can you tell me what your percentage is? Because I'm curious to know what is normal. Like on the website, it says that 80% is what you should be having it at, but what do people actually have as their NetGalley like percentage? So let me know, what is your percentage right now? Goal number 9 and 10, I don't know if I want to share, I'm just going to share it. Am I going to share this? I'm going to share this goal. So goal number 9 is to write and illustrate a children's book. I have wanted to do this for a while. If you didn't know, I was a primary school teacher before I took time off to have my son. So obviously we use children's picture books a lot, and in uni we studied picture books and stuff, and obviously I like drawing and I obviously like reading. I have had a couple of ideas that I would like to make into a book, but I don't know if I don't think I would actually publish it. I don't know, we'll see. I think I would probably just like to do it for myself and to like print myself off a copy that I can read to my son. I think that would be nice. So I would like to try and do that this year because I've been saying that I wanted to do it for a while and I never have. And then goal number 10 is similar to that, to begin writing a novel. Again, I don't think I would publish it because the ideas that I have, I don't know, it's kind of personal and I don't know whether I would want other people reading it, but just for my own self, I don't know if this is normal. Like when people want to write books, do you want to do it to actually publish it, or does anyone like want to write things like for themselves? I've literally never been someone that's like, yeah, I want to write a book. I think just because I always just thought I wasn't smart enough to write a book. But I feel like in recent years, reflecting over my life and the things that have happened recently, I just think I have things that I would like to write. Whether or not it makes it out into the world is a different story. Those are the main like reading involved goals that I think I have. Other goals that I guess pertain to like this part of the internet. But I finally got my booktube channel monetized. It was actually approved on Christmas Day. And if you're not familiar with how the monetization works, you have to reach $100 of ad revenue before you can actually get the payout. So my goal for the year is to actually reach that $100 threshold to get a payout from YouTube. I think it will take me quite a while because obviously my channel doesn't get that many views. So I think it will probably take me a while to get to the $100 mark. But even if it takes me until December to get there, it's $100 that I didn't already have. And it's something that I'm doing booktube anyway or like for free as a hobby. So yeah, my goal is to reach that $100 threshold and hopefully I can make it there by the end of the year. I hope I can. I didn't write this goal down, so I'm just throwing it in there. And my goal for my channel is pretty much to try and be consistent. I would like to publish more videos than I had in the previous year. I think in the entire year, I published, I think 50 videos. So I would like to at least get 52 videos out in 2024 because that equals 1 per week. Ideally, I would do more than 1 a week, but I don't know if I want to say that as a definitive goal. And I feel like I am kind of getting into the swing of things of how I want to do my content and the type of things that I want to film and post that I enjoy making. I think I'm going to try and make a couple more author videos because those were actually quite fun to make last year. So I think I might do some more like author discussion videos, and it also might be fun to do those type of like discussion videos just about random topic, like a random fashion trend or a random internet trend, but I don't want to post that on here. So I'm considering making just a separate channel that I won't focus on as much, just to post stuff that's random that doesn't have anything to do with books, because those author deep dive videos were fun and I would like to just do some fun rambling about other topics. So I don't know, I think probably no one would care about that, but just for my own self, I think it might be fun to make. And lastly, on channel goals, I definitely want to focus more on my editing. I have actually always really loved editing. Like when I was really, really young, I got this camera and editing software and I would always just play around on it. And then in high school, I really loved editing videos. Like these weren't like public videos, they were just for fun. I wish I had every single video that I've ever edited still, but it's interesting that when it comes to my channel, I don't usually really put that much effort in. I kind of just cut it together and then upload it. I know that a lot of people actually prefer the filming process to the editing process, but I actually think I prefer editing to filming. Let me know if you post videos, do you prefer filming or editing if you do YouTube? I'm really curious. Actually, I might ask people that on my Instagram story right now. But yeah, I would love to just put a bit more effort into the editing just because it is fun. I like to learn new things. I like to try new things. And so yeah, if you're watching a video, hold me accountable if you think my editing is not as good. But yeah, that's all the goals. Thank you for watching. Sorry if this is a boring video, but I will see you in the next one, which hopefully won't be too far away.